What is up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of The Variety Views. I'm your host, The Variety Vendor, back again with rebooking the worst pay-per-views in WWE history. Last time I did was 2020. Now I'm going with 2019. And last time I was going through Sportster, this time through Sportskita. And in 2019... well, they went with Super Showdown. No surprise there. But like I said before, I'm not really going to go with a house show, a glorified house show. I'm going to go with something that is widely available as pay-per-view. So I'm going to go with their number 13, which was Clash of Champions 2019. Okay. So this is their description of the show. While this wasn't a terrible show, Clash of Champions was just not very good. Taking place in between a hot SummerSlam, I agree, and the decisive WWE draft, the September pay-per-view was always set to be unspectacular. Also, with so many championships in the company, the all titles will be on the line was a difficult task to handle. There were a total of 11 matches, with 2 on the kickoff show, including an AJ Styles match. Most matches were okay, but felt like they would have fit better on Raw or SmackDown rather than on pay-per-view. Some of the best matches included the Revival taking the SmackDown Tag Team titles from the New Day and a Becky Lynch vs. Sasha Banks match ending into a no contest. The blow-off between Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton was a decent at best affair, while Eric Rowan pinned Roman Reigns with help from a returning Luke Harper. The main story of the show involves Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman losing their Raw Tag Team titles at the start of the show and then battling it out for the Universal Championship in the main event. It was a decent match with Rollins coming out on top. However, The Fiend attacking the Beast Slayer to close the show would not make the show a big thumbs up affair. Now, to me, the pay-per-views are all about how you start and how you finish. The stuff in between can be hit or miss, but it's all about how you start and how you finish. And I thought that their, let's see, the tag team title match was fun, and the main event was great as far as a Braun Strowman's match goes. And I thought, Braun Strowman did his best. Seth Rollins brought out the best out of Braun Strowman, and I thought that they did a good job. It was a good match, and let's see, some of the matches I don't remember actually. You had Kofi beat Randy Orton, and I don't remember. I don't remember these matches. I really don't. I remember Bayley beating Charlotte. It was when she cheated to win after getting her ass whooped like half of the match or like 3/4 of the match, and then at the end she just, rolled up Charlotte and then ran away. Like, I remember that. Not that much happened on this show. Sasha and Becky ending in a DQ, really? Eric Rowan beating Roman Reigns, I remember that, and then it led to a tag team match with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. I think that was the following pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken, which was Hell in a Cell, right? Oh god, that main event. Yeah, Daniel Bryan and, okay. Alright, okay. You know what? I think I can work with that. Let's see. So we got 8 matches, including, I would say, like a pre-show match. With the pre-show match being for the Cruiserweight title, Drew Gulak versus Lince Dorado. And I would let them, since it's a pre-show match, let them go out there for 20 minutes. Let them earn the people's attention. And let them just make the pre-show seem like the most important thing in the world. and I'm really sure that they can definitely do it, especially with a clash of styles between Drew Gulak being a submission specialist and Lince Dorado being a high flyer. I really have all the faith in the world with those guys in having a great match. And then we start off the show. First match on the main card, AJ Styles versus Ricochet, a rematch from SummerSlam for the U.S. Championship. And I would have Ricochet win back the championship because I really think that there were so many things that you could have done with Ricochet as U.S. Champion. You could have really built him up. And I think him losing the U.S. title to AJ Styles at SummerSlam wasn't a bad decision, when it happened, but in the long run it was. So if the idea was to give the title to AJ and Ricochet to chase him and win the belt back, I think it would do so much more for Ricochet. One step backwards and two steps forwards for Ricochet. So Ricochet winning back the U.S. Championship from AJ Styles. Then we go to the Intercontinental title match. Shinsuke Nakamura defending his Intercontinental title against Chad Gable. And I think that Nakamura beating Chad Gable in the midst of the King of the Ring tournament would make, Baron Corbin so upset that Chad Gable got the shot and blew it, before him, because he thought that he deserved the Intercontinental title before him. He deserved a shot at it. He deserved to be on the pay-per-view more so than Chad Gable. Who the hell is Chad Gable? And thus, Shinsuke Nakamura beats Chad Gable in a very good back-and-forth match, I think, that they would have. If you give them 15 minutes, I really think that they would really do a really good job. And then, you can have Baron Corbin rush to the ring after the match, not during, after the match, and beat up Chad Gable, thus building up to their to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. Then we go to the women's tag titles being on the line. I wouldn't do a Raw Women's title match or a SmackDown Women's title match. Mainly because if you do that, there are too many matches on the card. So rather keep it to a minimum. And, well, you'll know why. So basically, the women's tag titles will be on the line, and we got the two champions, the two women's singles champions on both Raw and SmackDown, Bayley and Becky Lynch, as a tag team. Yes, as a tag team. Wouldn't have turned Bayley just yet. I would have Bayley and Becky Lynch be as a tag team, go up against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, who are the tag team champions, against the Kabuki Warriors, who I think formed around this time. So just let it be a little bit earlier. Doesn't matter. Kairi Sane wasn't doing anything on NXT close to when she left, or she could have done something. But hey, you can still have them team up. So you have them, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Kabuki Warriors, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Cross, and the final team, Charlotte and the returning Sasha Banks. Yeah. I would have Sasha Banks come back as a mystery partner to Charlotte. And I really think it would be a great return for Sasha to return on pay-per-view rather than on an episode of Raw just unannounced. And I really think that it would be, it would add a little bit more intrigue on what the hell happens on Raw. Sasha Banks is back, and now the women's division has gotten a bit of a refresh because Becky Lynch going through all these women that aren't really up to her level. Who is she going to work with? Lacey Evans again, Dana Brooke. Who is she going to work with? Well, Sasha Banks is back. So, there you go. She has somebody to work with now. And I would have Charlotte and Sasha win this by having Bayley turn on Becky Lynch, thus aligning herself with Charlotte and Sasha Banks and then becoming a trio. Yeah, I would have them become a trio and pretty much run the women's division on both shows throughout the year. So that is what I would do with that, and that way you would save the championships, the singles championships for later on. Now you got something going on with Becky Lynch and Sasha going up for the next pay-per-view, and perhaps you do something with Bayley and Asuka, Bayley and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Nikki Cross, Bayley and Kairi Sane maybe. Hey, it can go either way. Then you got the SmackDown tag titles on the line. It's the same thing. The New Day versus the Revival. Wouldn't change a thing with that. And the Raw tag team titles. Yes. Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler going up against Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. I wouldn't do a Universal Championship match on this show. And the reason why is because of this match. This match can have a lot of implications for the future. So what you do is you add a stipulation to this match, with the idea being, hey, if Roode gets the pin, if Roode and Ziggler get a pin on the opposing team, if they win the match, they don't even have to win the tag titles. It can be like a or you can do like a no DQ match or something like that. The idea is that if Roode and Ziggler win, whether it's pinfall, submission, count out, whatever, if they win, they get a future title shot. They get a future Universal title shot. But if Strowman retains the tag titles with Rollins, then he gets a future title shot, maybe at the next pay-per-view. I wouldn't do the Fiend thing coming back here. Notice how two pay-per-views in a row, it has something to do with the Fiend, where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have the Fiend here. I wouldn't have Bray Wyatt here. I wouldn't have Bray Wyatt here just yet. He just came out of a magnificent re-debut at SummerSlam. One of the best I've seen, one of the best character introductions I've ever seen in wrestling. So hold him up for a bit. Let him mean something. When he shows up, it's like, shit just got real. So you got a lot of things going on with Rollins and Strowman. So what I would have done was have Roode and Ziggler win. Strowman is pissed off. He's like, man, you lost. Rollins lost, and he cost me a future opportunity, and he cost me the tag titles. So this would have, there would be a little bit of friction between Strowman and Rollins, while Rollins is fighting against Roode and Ziggler, and Strowman is helping out Rollins because the next episode of Raw, Rollins and Ziggler are having a match. Roode tries to interfere. Strowman cuts him off. Then the following week, you have Roode versus Rollins. Ziggler tries to interfere. Strowman cuts him off. So, Strowman tries to keep everything fair for Rollins matches going forward, just so he'd be like, you owe me one. You owe me one. And meanwhile, Strowman is racking up some wins. This would lead to the following pay-per-view at Hell in a Cell, where you have Strowman versus Rollins. Now, we go to the main event. The last match on the card for the WWE Championship in a last man standing match. Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. The problem with Kofi Kingston's run was the lack of gimmick matches. Because I really think, I can only think of one match he had that was a gimmick match. That was against Dolph Ziggler. And it was at a Saudi Arabia show, I think. It was like a cage match. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I don't care about that. You do a last man standing match here, Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. And the way that I would come up with this is that at SummerSlam, I would have had Randy Orton win the title. have Randy Orton win the championship at SummerSlam. And then here at Clash of Champions, Kofi Kingston wins the title back. Now, you have a reason for the Hell in a Cell match that would come at, that would blow off the feud the following month with Kofi and Randy Orton. That's where Kofi wins the title, wins the feud, and thus he's an even bigger deal because there was an obstacle. There was an actual chase going on. There was a struggle in his reign. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I would book Clash of Champions 2019, which was apparently voted as the worst pay-per-view, the worst WWE pay-per-view of 2019, right after Super Showdown. So, yeah, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, ding that bell icon for future episodes on the Variety Vendor channel, and check out my next video. We talk about something else. Take care.